Don't forget to stick around through the end of the video for information on our Arrive Serpentor Arrive giveaway. How do you make a villain super? Give them a necrosword that grants the ability to kill a god, then send them on a path to, well, do just that. Oh, and for kicks, let's call them a god butcher. Gorr. Marvel Comics Gorr, not quite the MCU Gorr. Comics Gorr did come from a less than desirable barren planet with minimal water or resources in general, or gods answering the blind faith of Gorr and his people and actually helping. But Gorr didn't stay blind. Granted, it took losing everything and everyone he loved and cherished before he realized that he was wrong and that gods aren't actually real. But he was wrong again. Gods are real and do exist. They just didn't seem to care enough to help their believers when they were needed. Now, if deities didn't deign diminish the difficulties of their most devout disciples, Gorr decided they deserved the dark destiny of death. And thus, with his acquisition of the Necrosword All Black, Gorr gained the superhuman powers that the Bondin wielder receives. And with the superhuman speed, reflexes, power, durability, and the weapon that can take down a god, vowed that he would rid the universe of these invalid idols, delete these disingenuous deities, butcher these betraying gods. Enter Gorr the God Butcher. Now, if you wanted one for your collection, but MCU Christian Bale version wasn't quite the right one, well, we have another chance thanks to Amazon and Hasbro. Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan, aka JK of JK Collection. Remember, I'll be posting new videos almost every day as great new ads arrive. If that sounds of interest to you, please click that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Every subscription helps out the channel a lot, and it truly does mean a lot to me personally. And in this episode, we are taking a closer look at the Hasbro 6-inch scale Marvel Legends Amazon exclusive Marvel Comics Gorr the God Butcher. Well, hey everyone, welcome back. And here we have it, what I'm assuming to be, should be, the Marvel Comics version of Gorr the God Butcher, the Amazon exclusive version. Now, it just came today. I have not opened even the outer cardboard, and we're going to do that right now so that we can reveal it. And you know what, if I'm revealing something else, and I guess that's what we're taking a look at instead. But let's do this. Okay, all right, so that's a good sign because you can already see the hammer. Which implies that we're in the Thor universe, and there it is. Thor, God of Thunder, written really big on Gorr the God Butcher's box. You know what? Whatever. I don't think he's too worried about that because, you know, he can do whatever he wants. This one is a windowless packaging, so it's cool to see the cardboard. You can see there's the rendering on the back of what we get. There's old Gorr with the Necrosword. We've got another hand and another head. Just absolutely fantastic. Look at this. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get this thing out. Such a great look. One thing that I had wished with the movie when it came out, Christian Bale did a fantastic job. Don't get me wrong. But I wish that they had gone a little bit more towards the look. Maybe they didn't do it because they didn't want to have him mistaken for Voldemort. I don't know. But if they had at least taken the nose away. They didn't have to do the Twilight things or whatever on there, but yeah, okay, anyway, more renderings on the side. I'll stop my little rambling of what we've got here, and then some of the artwork, a drawing of Gorr. Very, very cool, and there he is just looking absolutely menacing, and you know he's just looking down at some god that's about to meet their demise. So very unfortunate for them, but hey, fortunate for us because we've got it in our hands. I like the little comic panels back here too. Okay, I digress. Come here to listen to me ramble about a package perhaps came to look at a God Butcher. Let me see if I can not box butcher and get this thing opened. Okay, there we go. JK the Box Butcher. Alright, so we got the tape cut. Let's get this panel open. And there is our pamphlet just flopping right out. Thank you, Hasbro, for always making it easy to spot and locate that. It's like they know what side you're going to open, so they have it ready. Okay, so empty box, ready to move that to the side very carefully, because I definitely want to take care of that. All right, and let's take a checklist of what we've got in here. So here is one right over here, one paper pouch, and then we've got another paper pouch floating up here with Gorr, so that's two. And then we have the pouch that has Gorr himself in it, and that creates empty cardboard insert. And we will now move that to the side. So again, the checklist is two little pouches, one to the side, one with Gorr, and then the giant one, which we will assume is Gorr himself. Okay, so let's start with these little pouches and see what we've got. My guess is this one, being thin and small, is, yes, all black the Necro Sword. And look at that, it is a hand because he's bonded to it, right? So, okay, very cool. We're going to take a closer look at this one. And, oh my goodness. Right, the sculpting on this thing, the way that it just ties in and melds with the hand and continues traveling, and to see how it's designed to just run up the arm. Now this, I feel like this is probably not supposed to be tucked down there. Do you see that? I feel like this is supposed to be up and over some, so that it travels up the arm a little bit. But you know what? Maybe I'll find out something different with the figure when it's time. But I just feel like the arm's supposed to go there, and that Necrosword slime taking over is going to be, that's just fantastic. This is made out of a very flexible black rubbery plastic for safety. It's not a very sharp point, nor are these. It's all very flexible and sculpted very well. And I am in awe of this. It just, you can see the fingers coming through on the sculpting. You can see the slime traveling up. I look forward to putting this on there. So, okay, I digress. We'll set this to the side. And we'll check out this other pouch, which is probably, I'm guessing, our head and hand. So be careful. There is a head. I feel like it said there was another hand. I could be mistaken. Perhaps they were referring to the Necro hand. Who knows? But there is a head in that pouch, and that is the only thing that came out of the pouch for me. So you know what? Hey, maybe there'll be a different experience. Okay, so now here is our head without the cloak. So got the little tendrils coming down, and they fade into a little bit of a pink on there, which is super cool and pretty well done. Could the fade have been a little bit more drawn out? Yeah, it looks like there's a line where it just starts and it becomes pink. It'd be cool if it could just kind of have like a little bit of a mist right there that helped with that fade look. But it's not enough of a detractor. When you look at it, it still works, right? It's not bad. And then down to these little points. But look at the sculpting of this head. By the way, these are like a soft rubberized gray plastic that they're cast out of, and we've got like creases and everything in there. But this face, my goodness. That is so well done, right? Look at the teeth, just the grimace on that, how they are separated, but not too much, right? Not in that crazy, creepy way. Yes, he is very creepy, but, you know, there's like that way they can separate it where it looks evil or grimacy, and then they separate it where they just look gross and dirty. And this does not look gross and dirty. This would be the former. But then we've got all of this just sculpted in there. Just that pure anger in the forehead, the eyes. I mean, look at that. They're set fairly deeply in there. You can see the pink surrounding them, that kind of reddish pink, almost a little purple in there. The eyes are yellow with a tiny little black dot. This is beautifully done, and I do not see any issues on this one. I appreciate the darker gray highlights in there to really help cast shadows on the sculpted creases on it. This is, yeah. The only thing I would say was it'd be cool if that pink blended a little bit better, but that's it. If that's the best I can come up with, well done. All right, so let's look at old G-O-R-R himself. Pull it. Oh man, look at this thing. So cool. This is what I hoped to see in Love and Thunder, honestly. But his performance and honestly Natalie Portman, they definitely made the movie for me. Christian Bale's performance, obviously this guy was not in there. But so there we go. All right, so let's just dive into this guy just straight in. Okay. So looking at the face, right? So very similar, just not as angry, just a very still motion, but you can see all of the sculpting that was put in this one is also duplicated over here. So you can see the forehead. We still have that same line there. The mouth is closed, but we still have the nose type look, because it's more like it's there, but it's flat. And then all of these pieces that are sculpted in, slightly covered up because of the bottom lip, but you can see them exposed a little more. But then on the side, identical sculpting to this head. So very well done. And in this cloak, which is, you know, a little bit harder, softer plastic. It's not that rubbery plastic like these are made out of. This does move. And this point is actually a little sharp, so be careful of that. And be mindful if kids are going to be playing with it. That part is it's a bit of a point, and it is kind of sharp. But side to side, of course, with this, not really going to be a great thing, right? Because we've got this massive hood over it for this whole the Gorr costume, if you will, and obviously up and down. Also, not high expectations for it, but it can do that full Exorcist rotation, so I do appreciate that. And we'll check out this other head and see how that does. But let's look at the rest of them here. This is kind of slick and kind of hard to hold on to. One thing that stands out is we do not have a butterfly joint on here, which is kind of interesting. I would have expected maybe to see that. But yeah, so the shoulder does move. It kind of clicks pretty tight, so I'm not going to force it too much, but you can tell that it just a standard shoulder. There's a little bit of casting plastic flash up there. It came off okay. And but the shoulder does have good rotation. I will give it that. It's going to do a full all the way around. And then, of course, we have bicep, tricep that catches a little bit right about here where the tricep meets underneath in the underarm. But it does do that full rotation. It's not limited by that. You can just feel it catch a little bit. But it's very well done. And then we've got double elbow, but you can see the pins on it. So yet again, another thing that's kind of a surprise, but I guess reusing some parts, that's what we can come to expect. Flexibility of it is okay, but obviously with the musculature, it's going to be something that's a bit of a hindrance. Sometimes you can be a little bit too big, okay? No forearm, but we do have excellent wrist. And look at that flexion, right? So just flexing in, the supination, if you will, supination, and then moving outwards is excellent. Very well done. Easy way to remember that is act like you're holding a cup of soup. You've supinated your wrist. So there we go. And good rotation on that. So other arms, same capability, same functionality. The shoulder is not quite as tight, but it definitely does not want to rise much above that. But then the same all the way down, and then that same forward and backward on the wrist and rotation, but different styles, right? So this one's like it is truly holding a cup of soup or chili, I don't know, whatever Gorr's into. And then this one is ready to hold, honestly, this looks like a weapon hand, right? So like a trigger finger, which is interesting. I mean, you know what? He may have the necro sword, but it doesn't mean he doesn't want to use other stuff every now and then just to spice it up. Okay. Let me see if we can I'm going to remove this, right? So this definitely comes off very easily. We'll take a closer look at it in just a second, but I just didn't want it to hinder our ability to see the rest of El Gorro here. Let's put this head on. Okay, so there we go. One goes to the front, one goes to the back, it seems. And we have this U right here in the middle that we're kind of used to, no pun intended. So the back flexibility is excellent on that. It does have the spots where it clicks, kind of. It has like the detents. So we've got 1, very good forward, 2, 3, 4. So at least 4 good detents to hold it in place for good posing. And this does that straight lateral rotation, which creates kind of the shelf here sometimes. No big deal. It's just if you rotate it too far, it'll be a quite obvious separation. So just remember that when posing. Now, granted, this cloak might be able to help disguise it because these pieces do travel down right in front. But you also are separating this that's going on right here. The legs, they don't really do the drop down, but they do, it does pretty well. That's further than I've ever been able to get my legs to split, so I'm not too mad about that, but there's not really anything getting in the way, right? So it's just, he's just a body, and he's got upper thigh rotation, which is good, and not really, I guess we've got this one line that would be broken right there by rotating it too far. So yeah, one thing right there that couldn't really be avoided with the design. If you follow what Gorr looks like, you have to have that line going all the way up. Double knee on this one, which creates excellent flexibility for that limbering up. Grab that big giant foot and pull it and get ready. He's stretching that thigh right there. He's grimacing from it. Yep. Okay. All right. I'll stop. So pulling that down, we do have calf rotation. You see, there's this line that separates right there, and we don't have the gift of a boot or anything that can kind of help with that or help mask it. But it's okay. It's a very thin line. It's not so easily identifiable or enough. And yet again, this might drop down to kind of help mask some of that. And then, of course, the foot, we've got forward and backwards. Backwards is excellent. Forward, also very good. And he can break that giant ankle of his. Okay, same thing on the other side. So we are all right with that. Now, let's test some of the movement before we go into the paint pickiness of this head. So side to side, way better, right? Because we don't have the hood. We don't have the cloak in the way necessarily. The cloak may change it, but it doesn't seem like it would do too much because of where it sits. Up and down, pretty good. This is on a dumbbell or barbell up in there, but we do get that gap right there. So up is okay. It definitely does look up farther than what straightforward or neutral or horizon would be. And then we've got looking down, not bad. It definitely does look downwards, so it's beyond what horizontal would be. All right, and before we try and put the cloak back on, let's look at these paint apps. So just the black and pink on Gorr himself. Now the good thing about these is they're so kind of randomized. It could create a bit of a margin of error, I guess we'll say. So like there could be a gap in the black, or something could have been done wrong, and it just blends in, right? Because it is not these perfect lines, just goes all around. But the good thing is I don't see anywhere there's like gray showing through right here, or gray showing through right there, or just an absolute clear sloppiness of overspray or anything like that on the lines. And even these pink spots, the black is very well centered in them, and they are all about the same size with that same bit kind of going out, radiating out from the black. There's this mark right here where a little bit of black got carried away on mine. Hopefully that's probably isolated. It seems like it might have just been something that slipped or got out when it was being painted, these tiny little details on it. But very well done, and I have a little scuff right there. And I didn't do it from doing the back kick thing. It's just some flesh tone looks like it's scraped on there or came off, because this is definitely cast plastic, but it's cast in that color, so it's definitely not that. Something hit it and rubbed off. And this white painted on here, or light gray to match his flesh, there's a little bit showing through of this darker plastic. So very few issues, one little mark right there, nothing to really complain or write home about. The musculature and all that, obviously sculpted in it, some reuse going on here, so no big deal on that. But I think it's great. Actually, there's some scars sculpted in here, so I wonder, is this new or no? You see that? There are some scars sculpted into that. I'm very curious. I'm not 100% up to date on all of the blank or reused bodies, but I'm curious if there's another one out there that has just random scars included, or it could, you know what, it could just be veins. Maybe that's what it is. I'm going to go with that. It probably is, because we've got some showing through on the biceps and it's very similar. Okay, so moving on. The last thing that I want to check out before we say goodbye is let's put this on with this head and see how it works. So we'll tuck the little tendrils forward and backwards, and yeah, that looks pretty cool, right? And then this, again, it's very cool. It's that flexible, little bit harder plastic. We've got this piece hanging down here. No paint apps on it, but then we've got the little almost creatures, shadow creatures that are making up his cloak showing through here, right? So like a little head and just kind of going around. It's very neat looking. But as I said, when this is on, it definitely masks some of the other things that I'd pointed out, right? So if we rotate, it's going to help. It helps mask some of the platform that the waist creates. And if you rotate the legs, it also helps mask where some of those lines get broken. So very well done with that cloak piece. And there he is. There's Gorr, and obviously he stands up very well on his own with those big feet. I would hope so. And we'll be right back with some 360s. Thanks. And here he is, the Hasbro Marvel Legends, Marvel Comics version of Gorr the God Butcher, the Amazon exclusive. Fantastic figure, really well done. Hopefully you have one on the way or pre-ordered if you were interested in getting it. And if you are and don't have one, I hope you do have the ability to get your hands on one. If you do, definitely pick it up. It's certainly worth the investment. I think they did a fantastic job at representing this figure. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed taking this closer look. Hey everyone, we are currently running our Arrive Serpentor Arrive giveaway where we are giving away one Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Serpentor with Air Chariot. All you have to do is comment on this video to be entered to win. Each video during the giveaway period will have a secret keyword shared within the video, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Because the first person to comment that keyword gets pinned to the top of the comments and gets 2 entries for that video. A special thank you goes out to all of you for making it possible for us to be able to already start giving back. Well, that just about does it. Thank you for checking us out and for joining on this collecting journey. And remember, we are posting new videos almost daily as new ads and releases come. If we ever do a review of something you are trying to find for yourself, please follow and DM us on Instagram at JKCollectsToys so we can help with the search if we don't already have a way to get one. Also, if you got anything out of today's episodes, be sure to subscribe and click that like button so you can stay up to date on any new ones. If you'd like to see some more videos, there are a couple of quick links on your screen right now for you to check out. But no matter what, as always, thank you so much for taking the time. And remember, we are all in this world of collecting together. Let's look out for each other. Thanks.